Right, it is a good morning for Steve, and it's a good evening for those of us who are here in Nairobi, Kenya. And for those of us who are around the country of Kenya, welcome, karibuni sana to this session. My name is Lucy Makridis, and I am the director of SWAA. I want to first and foremostly thank you so much for joining the therapist group and showing up today, and for the interactive feedback you're giving us on the group. We do hope that you're enjoying what we are offering you out there, but we need your feedback. So here today, I am honored to introduce Steve Andrews. As you can see, he is there on the screen and he'll be joining us in a minute. He'll introduce himself. He is the founder and CEO and is a master therapist of Soothing Touch Spa Incorporated in Barbados. So he's all the way in Barbados. That's why I'm saying a good morning to him. He possesses certification in advanced massage therapy, skincare, and aromatherapy. And he's here today and will be here every other second week to share with us ideas of how we can upskill ourselves. On this call, I have got two of my colleagues. I've got Jilly Okumu, who is our administrator, and we've got Alice, who is our membership. Yeah, there's Jilly. And then we've got Alice Mburu. So you're putting actually faces to the names that are on the group, and Alice is in charge of membership. I look forward to you guys signing up. But until then, we'll continue to give you this good stuff. Steve, over to you. The microphone is open.
Good morning, good afternoon, Africa, and my colleagues online. It's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure to be here this morning, this afternoon, and I remember when I was introduced to the association. Then Elaine asked me, what can I do to help the association, or how can I build the association? Let me give you some background of who I am. As you were told, yes, I was practicing massage and spa therapy for the last 25 years. When I started in the 90s, 96, and I used to practice martial art, and I was good at martial arts, so I represent Barbados as well. And someone suggested I should go and have a massage. And after having a massage, I thought it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was one of the most beautiful things. And from then, I always was passionate in learning about massage therapy, but there were no one in Barbados that was teaching. So it took me about another 2-3 years to find someone that started. So I started a basic class in Barbados. And as I said, in 96, I started with a basic class in Barbados. And from then, I really try my best to be the best that I can be in terms of therapy. Growing up, we had two issues. Coming up in therapy, they had two groups. One group that was locally trained, which is not a lot of us. And they had a group that was internationally trained. So as everything else, everything is international, supposed to be better. And I think I used that as my advantage because I was always seen as not good enough. So what I did is find every single opportunity that I can to really what I would call upgrade my skills. So it takes me first around the Caribbean, and then it takes me around the world and learning different aspects. By my passion to become a better therapist, I was introduced to different groups. So then I started becoming involved in regional development in terms of therapy. I sit on many committees in terms of developing standard, and then I was introduced where I become a part of the Caribbean Spa Wellness Association as a board member. Was a funny thing. I was the only day spa operators that was a board member. Then after 3 years as a board member, I was elevated to the president of the regional association. and where I spent 6 years really developing the sector. We look at standards, we look at marketing. So we did a lot in terms of development of the sector. Um, but my passion really was, I had spent a lot of time really developing the sector. And then, I mean, after going through with the sector, I mean, running an association is very difficult, very, very, very difficult. So I give kudos to the ones that is trying to get your association up and going. And I had taken a break for a little while because I felt battered and bruised about trying to help, but it don't feel like you're doing enough to help. And I've taken a break until COVID came. And then after COVID, and people were saying, oh, you need to get back. You need to find ways of how you upgrade your skills. And I was invited to a meeting, a discussion in Asia Pacific Association, about how do we deal with the issues of COVID, and by having discussions. And then I find myself getting into online a lot, looking and seeing what was happening online. And I was very disappointed in terms of the delivery of service that we are seeing around the globe. And I have a fundamental problem with what we do. I mean, therapy was really, really good to me. When I started in 99, in 97, 96, if I give you my story, it's too much a short time for me to give you my story. And now I am one of those person in Barbados, if you might say, in a little island, but I have really put down my mark. I live really comfortable in island life, and I have done pretty well for myself. So I was very passionate about an industry, and then I felt very sad that an industry that was so good to me, we are taking it for sport. It's no, and this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm trying to do what I'm doing, because we are a tourism destination. So I spend a lot of time in hotels, in villas, working on people, clients. And the question always asks, what do you do? What kind of massage you do? And for a long time, I was lost and I didn't really understand what I was doing until I start figuring it out about a couple of years ago that what I'm doing is not just following sequence. Massage therapy is basic. Massage means rubbing vigorous with oil. Anyone can do a massage. But when you go to therapy, you are elevating yourself to another stage. And so much of us is doing massage without understanding the elements of around massage therapy. So the concept that I'm teaching is really not about coming to Africa and teaching you how to do sequence. Anyone can do a sequence. What I want to do is to unplug you from your sequence and move you into therapy. How do you move from, each individual is different. Every time someone come to you, they are different. So how do we do the same sequence on every person that come to us? So it's how do you understand what we do and how we do. Simple thing as touch. How much of us understand the importance of touch when we touch some person? I keep saying that we pay more attention to our uniform, we pay attention to our oil bottle, we pay more attention to our table than our touch. Because touch is the most, this is what we do. And everything we do is through touch. And if we don't understand how important our touch is, why are we doing what we are doing? Now, how can we have the impact on the clients that come before us if we don't understand? A couple of years ago, maybe last year or year before, we were on a discussion with Africa, the African Association, and there was a guy that said that he have never had a mind-changing massage yet, or mind-moving massage yet. And it stick in my head, and it bothers me, because he said he have many massage, and he's all around Europe, and he have never had a mind-changing massage. And it bothers me a whole lot, because every time I have this discussion, I remember him. And I believe that if you understand what you're doing, that every single massage you do should be mind-changing. or mind-blowing if you really understand what you're doing. It's no way you should give a massage and in an hour, in 2 hours, someone forget about the massage. They feel good, a good feeling while you're there, but in an hour or two or a week, they forget what your massage should be. If you understand, or if you understand the element of therapy, and you start integrating the elements of therapy in your massage, is no way someone would forget your massage 2 days, a day, an hour after you have given a massage. And this is where we want to take the therapists, not just in Africa, but around the world. How do we change the way that we see therapy? So ideas we're going to be focusing on is your touch. What is touch? How important your first touch is. How your first touch should be just as dynamic as your last touch. Always interacting with the person. Your breathing technique. How do you breathe through your touch? Emotional connection. How much of us think about when we're doing a massage? It has to have emotional connection. Without emotional connection, your massage basically empty. Because basically what you're doing is just rubbing up and down people without. So emotional connection is so critical in what we do. Then we will look at stuff like energy. What is energy? When I started massage, someone said, my tutor said to us, oh, you have to learn how to balance energy. And I spent many, many, many years trying to figure out how I balance my energy. Anyone know how to balance the energy? Anyone?
I can see maybe Caroline wanted to say something. Caroline?
No, sorry. I'm good.
You're good. Any thoughts about energy and how you balance your energy when you're doing a massage?
Sorry, come again?
Steve has asked a question about energy. How do you balance your energy when you are giving a massage to your clients?
Observing good posture. That's the random thought.
So we will dive into stuff like that. How do you balance energy? What is energy? Can you really balance it? So we will really dive into stuff like that. Vibration. I was speaking to Lucia earlier, and she was saying the way that I use my wrist. See, my wrist is a part of that motion. You have to understand how you use. How do you, if you ever watch my videos, always see my client always moving. I'm always rocking throughout my entire massage. You know why? Because rocking is a part of energy. Rocking with energy is the solid, rocking vibration is a movement of energy. So you cannot move energy if the person is still. You have to be able to rock it through the body. And rocking is one of the things that we have developed over a long time where we use the concept in terms of if a baby cannot sleep, what we do. We usually try to rock them to bed, right? So we rock joints into place. Joints that is too tight, we can rock them into place. Joints that is joints that are too loose, we can rock them into place. Joints that is too tight, we can loosen them by rocking. So when you watch my technique and how I do it, is that all of those movements start with rocking as well too. And then we will dive into stuff like when when I say it's not really anatomy. I'm not gonna come and teach you anatomy. Each one of us should know anatomy. What I will teach you is the relationship between your massage and your anatomy. What is the relationship? And we can get into discussions like that. And then we'll dive into your tools in your toolbox. Tools in your toolbox is something that we take for granted. I know all of us might know a million styles: Thai, deep tissue, shiatsu. all of these things that you might learn over a period of time, but do we really understand how important that they are to us, how important all of these techniques is to us. So what we're going to do, then we will dive into the tools in our toolbox, and then we'll put it all together, and then we can start looking. Then we'll start thinking about therapy. This is how the evolvement of therapy will start. So these are things that we will take you through step by step, how we can develop what we're doing. So this is the concept I'm teaching you. So I'm not coming to bring much more technique. It's not I can't teach you techniques. I can teach techniques. Techniques is not a problem. But why do you want to pack all of these things? If your foundation is weak, I'm not saying your foundation is weak because I don't know where you at. I'm just saying, if your foundation is weak, why do you want to pack all of these other things on it and you don't know what they are for? So these are ideas that I will bring to the table, and these are concepts I will bring to you, and we can go through them, because I keep saying I can't teach you how to do a massage, because my idea is not to teach me, is really to bring the best out of you. So each one of us, no one can teach you how to do a massage. Each one of us are different. Every single one of us are different. So our moods, our expression, all of those things are different. So when you're doing a massage, you're supposed to express oneself. So basically you're expressing yourself in your massage. So if someone comes and says you should do it this way, and that's not the way that you can express yourself, that it means that you are not doing 100%, or you are not doing the best in your massage. So each one of us is like a flower. We are different. So it's about helping each one of us to express ourselves through what we do or what we know. So that's what we're going to be working on. This is the kind of concept I'm coming with. And this is kind of training or teaching that I do when I come to you. So basically that's just what I do in a little nutshell, as we will say in the Caribbean. So I don't want to sit here and just chat with you all the time. I like discussion, I like conversation, because I believe I can learn just as much from you as you can learn from me, because teaching is about, when you teach, you learn a lot from. So it's about sharing. So I never see myself as a teacher. I just see myself as a facilitator, where we will teach each other how we can be the best that we can be amongst each other. So I will stop there, stick a pin, and any other discussion, any question, we can talk about it.
Thank you so much, Steve, for that introduction and telling us what it is that you do. And I love the fact that you're coming from a place of first experiencing it and then looking for a solution to provide it. You're doing something about a change. You're making the change that you want to see. And we just want to find out from Jilly, are we all therapists on the group here? Is everybody a therapist? Maybe we could just ask them, if Jilly don't have that information, if everybody could just put up their hand.
Yeah,
So,
therapist in the house.
I didn't know Julie is a therapist.
Yeah, you can raise your hand. I can see one.
Jilly is a wannabe therapist.
Yeah,
okay.
Emma is a therapist. Sir James is a therapist. Who else is a therapist here?
I've got Techno Camon 18, who is a therapist. And I've seen you put up your hand. You're in a yellow blouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your name?
You're on mute.
Connection.
Yep, there you are. We hear you now.
My name is Phyllis.
Hi, Phyllis. Welcome to SWAA. Welcome. And as you've heard the introduction from Steve Andrews and talking to us about his type of technique and what he's hoping to share with us. And I think it's good news. What are your thoughts?
My thought for now, that's the best thing, as we have learned a lot because we do a lot of different styles as spas. We do a lot of different massages. So I've learned how you can know like what you're doing really in a massage.
Great. I mean, he talked about 3 main areas. Which area was effective for you? And maybe you could direct that to Steve. Maybe touch, balance of energy.
Mostly the touch and the energy.
Okay, what question would you have for Steve then on balancing of energy?
Yes, the balancing of the energy with like the vibration and the like, was it tapping, I think? Like rocking, yes, the rocking thing.
Yes.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I never thought of. What about you, Eunice? Eunice, do you have any question for Steve? I see Eunice is on the
I think
phone.
she's on call.
She's on
We
call.
can go to Sir James. His hand was
Yes.
up.
Hi, everyone.
Hello,
We
go
can
ahead.
hear you.
Yeah.
We're waving at you.
Oh, right. Thank you. I think the question I can pose is, how can you get rid of energies you receive from the client? Because sometimes you do a massage and after that you feel like you're so exhausted, so you've taken all the energy. As much as you're trying to relax and share your positive, you feel like you're taking from them the energy from them, that whatever they were carrying. How can you go about that?
Well, that's something we'll dive into. We can have a whole discussion on that one because it's something I keep hearing all the time. And I keep asking myself, what are you speaking about? Energy is universal. First of all, we have no control in energy. We can control ourselves, but we cannot control energy. Energy is universal. It flows through. It's natural. And one of the things that I keep saying to us, there's nothing that someone can give to you if you don't allow them, if you don't accept it. But that's for another session. I want to keep that whole thing for another session. And we will dive into the concept of energy because I want to debunk that concept. And that's, I promise you, we'll do a session on that one, energy itself, because I hear it so much times, and we'll do a session on that one. So I'll make sure you come back, that you'll hear, you can understand how you do that one. Yes.
So James, you need to come back. Steve will be back in 2 weeks' time. Today it was about introduction, so that we can get to him. Thank you so much for your question. Last week,
I appreciate
the video. You're welcome. You're most welcome. Last week we looked at a video from Steve, and that got a bit of conversation going. Today he's here to introduce what it is that he does, his concept. And then when we speak to him and see him again in 2 weeks' time, he's going now to start breaking down on what it is all about. But however, you filled out a survey, and this survey gave us some great tips on what you wanted to hear about, which Steve is going to address so that he is responding to a specific question. But thank you so much for that question, Sir James. I love that.
Thank you.
James Evanston. Okay, great.
And I think it was the same Sir James who asked about the posture.
The posture, exactly.
Yes.
From the previous video.
Well, there you go. You can ask the question. It was a question about the table being too low or you being
Too
too tall.
low,
Yeah.
yeah, or me being too tall or too long.
Okay, well, we have Steve here. Maybe you could ask him directly because I asked him the question before you came. So
right,
maybe
thank
you
you.
ask him the question and we get his insight on the level of the table, how high, how low.
All right. Yeah, I would like to ask this then because if the table is like I saw your table was a little bit low, maybe that's what I thought. Because if I was maybe I was in your shoes at that point and I was thinking, oh, you live there with the hunchback. It is scary. So how do you balance? If you're to give me like how high should I'm 6'4", so you can imagine. How high should my bed or low should my bed be?
Your
Considering
table
there's
should
a client on top of the table.
Your table should reach you in the middle of your palm. Just 1 second for me, guys. Just have a seat for me. I'll be with you in a little bit. You can, yeah. You can sit here. Sorry. So your table should meet you in the middle of your palm. It's very important. It's better for your table to be too low than to be too high. The height of the table will control the pressure. You can sit here, Dad. The height of the table will control the pressure that you can apply to your client. You cannot apply pressure if the table is too high because then you will be using your shoulder. And in massage therapy, your pressure must be consistent throughout the technique. It can't be where you're breathing. If you're using your shoulder, then you're breathing. So you ever heard about pounding muscles? That's what will happen if you are not in control with your. So it's best for your table to be too low than to be too high. And if it's low, then you will make the adjustment in your knees. Okay, so you will spread your legs. We will look at body mechanics, the importance of body mechanics. So we will show your leg. And when we speak about body mechanics, I will show you the difference where the spine is always straight. Everything else can make the adjustment. So it's better for your table to be too low than too high. Too high, you cannot control your pressure, and you cannot work around if the tables are too high. Too high, you are like this, so there's no control. You need to be with control that because you are not using shoulder pressure. Because if you use shoulder pressure when you're doing massage, every time you breathe, you'll be going up and down. The pressure must come from your stomach. So that connection must happen when you're doing massage therapy. And those are things we can go through and we can show the difference in when your table is too high to difference when your table is too low. You just make the adjustment in your legs. So too low is never a problem as long as you understand that the adjustment must come from your legs. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
I understand. But now I get it. I'm looking forward to more classes like this.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And please spread the word so that, because now we go literally deeper into it in 2 weeks' time. We need to let Steve go right now. We'll be back here 2 weeks' time and we will have more time. Steve, what do we look forward to the next time we are here? Shall we be talking about the energy or what will we be talking about?
Well, I always like to start with touch. Touch is essential. So we can start with touch, the importance of touch, what we can learn from touch, and all of those things. So we can really dive into it. I'm hoping we will have much more time that we can really explore the concept of what we are trying to do here. So touch will be the most important. We will dive into it. We will look at different aspects of touch, how touch is important. How much class? We have a couple classes before April, so we can really look at those concepts. And I just also you need to send me ideas of what you want to, because I keep saying I don't want to bring me to you. I mean, I want you to tap my mind. That's how you will get information. So you need to, and question and answers. Question is so important. If you don't ask me, then because there's so much things in my head that if you don't pull them out of my head, then I don't get them out. So throw a question at me. They say no question is a stupid question, but just make sure that you think about your question, because the whole idea of what I'm doing is to allow you to think as well. Therapy about thinking. Therapy, you don't go into a room blank mind and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, because you never know what you're going to find. So you have to start thinking about it. So thinking about therapy. So the idea is to allow you to start thinking. And in our entire class, we think, like eventually when I get there to Africa, and I start teaching, it's really not each person at a different stage. So we will adjust each person based on where they are. So this class is not a one, it's just not I throw everybody in a pot and say, okay, you do. We make adjustment based on where you are. So you can have one class with many different levels, but then you can make the adjustment based on what you're seeing. Because a lot, my teaching, my way of teaching is really allow you, because I can ask you, what do you think? So I can say, what do you think? Does this make sense? Or if I think I need to change you, then I would say, well, what about doing it differently? So the whole idea of how we teach is not really about saying it's my way, so do it this way. I only make a suggestion to change because we are so different. When you understand the powers that we carry, you cannot be not yourself. You have to be yourself. You have to be you when you're doing, because if you only, because it can't be just, I'm doing it because. I keep saying that if you get a tenth of what I'm trying to teach you, you are not going to have a job. You're going to have a career for life. If you get a tenth of what I'm trying to teach you, you're not going to have a job. You're going to have a career for life, because when you touch someone, they will think twice about someone else touching them. So this is where I want to take you. And this is where I'm hoping that we can go together. I wish I can really, sometimes I sit down and say, I wish I can really share with people what happens, how I feel when I'm working, the different things that you feel. But it's not going to come overnight. You have to practice. You have to put the time in, just like how you practice your technique. You have to practice the element. So when you touch, what are you feeling? We will talk about energy, and I will leave this with you. Do you know when we start massage, I tell you rub your hand together and rest it, and then you rub your hand and hold it this way, and you'll feel the energy. You remember that? How much of us feel that energy? How much of us?
I can see Judy has unmuted. Judy, do you feel welcome, and do you feel that energy when you rub your hands? I think she had muted but not came back on.
So that's something when I started, I thought I did feel the energy. You feel something because in your head. When you practice and you do this, you don't need to rub your hand anymore. You just need to do this and it will feel it because it's developed. It's the same thing. They tell you to do it because I don't know, but what I would say to you, if you practice it, you don't have to rub your hands anymore. You just have to put it like this and you will feel the energy just bouncing, because there are two, it's like negative and positive just coming together. It triggers energy. That's why when you touch someone, you're triggering, this is the energy that is flowing because you're triggering energy. So that's why touch is important, because when you place your hand on someone, it's two different parts, negative, positive, plugging into each other. So you will feel that energy. And we will, in our energy class, we'll start having a discussion of what it should be. So I leave that one with you. Until next 2 weeks, we will have a discussion on touch. We'll dive into touch. We'll try to understand a little bit more about how important touch should be when you're doing therapy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Most grateful. We'll get ready for touch in 2 weeks' time, and we'll share with everybody. Have a very good morning to you, Steve, and the rest of the day. And for the rest of us here in Nairobi, Kenya, have a blessed evening. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, guys. See you soon, 2 weeks.